A difficult start. Alistair Cook went early. Stoneman got in and got his half-century. Vincent Root the other wickets. There was much debate about Stoneman's dismissal, but eventually it seems the right decision. Ricky, Jeffrey and Graham alongside me. And finally, Jeffrey, something to shout about.
It was a wonderful day, wasn't it? Exactly what everybody from England wanted.
Yeah.
Maybe not Ricky, but they've had 2 victories. We, in England, we wanted a good day. We wanted something to lift us. I've been a supporter of Milan since I've seen him. He hasn't made a lot of runs, but I've watched his technique. And when you're going to play the quality bowlers, and they are a quality attack, you need a good defence. You've got to be able to let the ball go. You've got to duck the bouncer. You've got to play tight on the back foot, get forward. You've got to move your feet. You've got to know what to leave. And I've liked what I've seen, and I'm pleased for the lad because he showed me in Adelaide particularly, he got stuck in, that he's got some heart, he's got some bottle, he likes the fight, he's up for the challenge, and you've got to be. And then he has his range of shots. Maybe it's not quite as expansive as others, but you need to know your own game. And he's still young in Test cricket. What is he, 8 Test matches? He'll get better, he'll improve. We all do. Nobody starts off as a genius player. You have to earn your right. And I just like the way he approaches it. And I thought last Test match, didn't say much, but if Vince keeps failing at 3, they're going to have to shove him up to 3. I'm sure he won't want to go there because he's got 100, he's got a 50, and it's a bit easier down the order. Ricky will tell you, but needs must, and we need people who can play the new ball.
Impressed?
Oh, look, I was very impressed. The situation, the game that he came in as well, 3 for 115, could have gone either way.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of a pretty hostile spell of fast bowling from the Aussies. We saw Stoneman get a good working over. Joe Root, unfortunately, got that tickle down the leg side. But when Milan came in, he wasn't just going to sit back and let the Aussies bowl at him. He took on the short ball early on when they overpitched. We know how strong he is through the covers, but he seemed really composed all day.
Absolutely.
Even when the Aussies had their tails up, he was very composed.
Of course, we showed this morning the leading run scorers in the series. 3 Aussies at the top. Well, obviously now Dawid Malan has forced his way to the front, as has Johnny Bairstow now made his way into the picture. And Swanee, from a point of view, if you think about the first 2 tests, a centurion each essentially made the difference, didn't they? Steve Smith in Brisbane, Sean Marsh in Adelaide. We were crying out for one, we got one.
Absolutely. My palms were so clammy by the time he was dropped in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, no, come on. Because it might be a watershed moment for the England team. They might actually get a few more people over the line now. I thought both of them were superb, Bairstow and Malan today. Early on, he took an absolute barrage. I mean, he played so well because the way it was going at the time and all the short pitch bond, it looked like England were ready to crumble. But he came in, he was very confident, he showed some bottle, as Jeffrey said, and he rode his luck at times a little bit, but he earned his luck as well. And I was just impressed with him all the way through.
Ricky will tell you, up front against good bowlers with a new ball, I don't think there's anybody that doesn't occasionally play a miss. You know, you play a ball, you think, oh, I shouldn't have played that. Or you go for a hook and it doesn't go where you want. Well, you've got to forget it. That ball's gone. And if you get a bit of good fortune, you make it count. That's the difference between the quality players, the really high-quality players.
Yeah. Well, Ricky, as Jeffrey said, he picks his shots. He perhaps knows his own strength. That's a strength in itself, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Being able to put the last ball behind you and get on with the next one is the difference between, as Jeffrey said, the good and the very, very good. That was one there that was the first ball with the second new ball. You see just a little bit of late swing, and as Adam Gilchrist highlighted on the coverage, Cameron Bancroft just standing way too close there. There's no need to stand that close in Perth. The ball carries through forever with the new ball, but that's his strength. That's what I like to see today. He moves beautifully into the ball to hit the cover drives, and that is that special moment that he will never ever forget, and no one can ever take away from him.
Yeah, fantastic. I think he's on his way for a chat, actually, which will be delightful when he gets here. In fact, I think here he is. Bang on cue. We've just been watching your ton.
Thank you very much. Cheers, yeah. Cheers, man.
How does that feel?
Yeah, over the moon, to be honest. Pretty emotional about it. You know, it's not every day you get an opportunity or score 100 for your country. So, yeah, look, I was very emotional out there when I hit those runs and didn't really know what to do after that, to be honest. So, but no, it was, it's a great feeling, especially with the way the tour's gone to sort of, get us in a good position for tomorrow.
Yeah, we thought it's great. It's a nice subdued celebration. He hasn't finished yet. Actually, he didn't know what to do. Let's have a look at the moment, because it's always nice to relive those moments, to get your thoughts on what was going through your head at the time.
I was trying to run too there, to be honest. I was trying to make sure. I didn't realise I hit it that well, but Yeah, you know, when you're in the 90s, you start thinking a bit ahead of yourself, and, you know, after I nicked that ball and got put down, you know, it sort of put me back in my box a little bit and started watching the ball a bit harder. So, yeah, look, it's a great feeling. I can't really explain it still, but, yeah, look, I'm over the moon.
It means a lot, I would think, to not just you, but to the England team. Been under the cosh for perhaps some self-imposed reasons, but obviously cricketing reasons as well. We've just talked about the fact that in Brisbane and Adelaide, an Aussie centurion has swung the match. So this was important.
It was, yeah. We've made the headlines for the wrong things, and the only way to sort of put those things to bed is to win games of cricket. And, you know, we're in a position now where we've sort of got a one foot in the door, and we need to capitalise on that tomorrow. You know, the other games we did lose and we lost comprehensively, but there were times in the games where we were on top, and, you know, Australia put their foot down in those crucial moments, and we weren't good enough in those moments. So hopefully in this game we can make sure we capitalise on the moments that we're on top.
And when you first went out there today, the Aussies gave you a barrage of bounces, and then all of a sudden, 4 wickets down, you started to take on the pull shot, the hook shot. Was that a trigger in your own mind to try and put more pressure on the Aussie bowlers?
A little bit. I think, you know, I play the short ball best when I look to play it. You know, as soon as you sort of just look to duck and defend, you sort of get yourself in a bad position. So that's my theory in it. So I decided to sort of look to play it as it gets me in a better position, and then I had a couple of flaps here and there. And, you know,
well, the wagon wheel's pretty comprehensive. You've been round the ground.
Yeah, look, I'd much rather face that than face someone bowling 78 miles per hour on a green seamer. So,
don't give all your secrets away.
Probably got the spine that can be. Careful.
So, well, I'm not sure we're going to get many green seamers out here.
No,
but no, look, it was a good wicket to bat on. I still think there's a lot of runs in that wicket if whoever gets in makes sure they get in. You know, it's not as quick as I thought it was going to be. It's got good carry, and it's very true. So, you know, there's definitely runs to be had, and we're going to have to bowl well to bowl them out when they get their chance.
You're just about the wicket. You spent a long time out there today. Did you notice the cracks changing at all through the course of the day?
They got a little bit wider, but nothing significantly that sort of stood out that you can sort of go, oh, this is going to make a difference. You know, maybe by day 3 or day 4 they'll widen a bit, but you know, and some of them are a little bit wide. So yeah, there was nothing really that stood out.
I was impressed with the way everybody that came in seemed to try and manoeuvre the off-spinner around, ones and twos. It seemed to me, watching, that there'd been a team talk about not letting him tie you all down. That doesn't mean slogging fours, but pushing ones and keep the score ticking. Was that right? Because you played him very well.
Yeah, it definitely helps when he's not turning and bouncing square. So, you know, look, I think from the second game onwards, we had a sort of game plan where we looked to put him under pressure and be a bit more proactive.
Yes.
As you said, it wasn't about running down, hitting for 6 and trying to hit boundaries of every ball, but it was to rotate him, and especially when we have the right and left-hander in, to make sure we get 2 or 3 singles and over, and then make him bowl the bad balls. So
your footwork was excellent. You just went down and just caressed him, didn't you? Not just bashing him, just went down, and so he's not quite sure when you're coming, which ball you're coming.
Yeah, it's you could sort of see him second guessing a bit. He bowled me a few cut balls towards the later end of the day when he thought I was coming down a bit. So you know, from my point of view, that was nice to sort of see that using my feet sort of put him under a bit more pressure, which is what you want. You have to find a way to put the bowlers under pressure.
Played super. Well,
you don't know how rare that is, by the way. Swanee?
David, moving on, tomorrow is a huge day, obviously. What have you got your sights on now? Obviously, Johnny 200 and then 400 or 500?
Yeah, well, from this start with 6 wickets left, you want to put as much pressure in and score as many runs as you can. I think that first hour was crucial. If we give them a sniff in that first spell with Stark and Hazelwood while the ball's still new, then you know, we're going to be on the back foot. So, you know, I think that first hour is extremely crucial, that we get through that with that same positive intent that we had to score runs and get that scoreboard moving and put us in a good position.
And just tell us, as you walked up the stairs, you gave someone a kiss. Who was that?
Yeah, my mum and dad flew over, so probably made it more emotional. So so they were in the crowd, and the missus and everyone else was there. So yeah, just emotional time.
Fantastic. You can have 20 minutes with them and then get to bed. Well done, mate. Yeah, well done. The curfew's on. Thank you very much, David. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. Played well, eh?
Oh, magnificent. You know, I think that moment where England were 4 wickets down, you know, I think we all got a sense from around the ground the Australians were bowling with hostility. It was noisy. You know, they seemed to be appealing every other ball. And I just thought that decision that he made, thought, you know what, I've got to take a few of these on. I can't just kind of duck and weave. I can't just get hit. We've just seen Stoneman get one on the head. We've seen Stoneman get kind of caught in front of his armpit, a couple of loopers, and he thought, I've got to try and take a risk. And I think at this level, there's sometimes that you just have to tell yourself that the risks are worth taking, just now and again you go, I've got to take something on here, and I thought his decision to do that today just changed the course of the game.
Yeah, the point that stood out for me about him talking about playing the short ball is that he plays it better when he looks to play it. And if you look at Mark Stoneman through his innings here today, he didn't look to play it at all, and that's why he's getting so tucked up. When you're looking to hit the ball, you're a lot lighter on your feet, you're agile, you're looking to hit or get out of the way. But I thought his intent today through his innings was outstanding.
Well, Johnny played well too.
I was going to say, yeah.
Secondly, I know the guy's got 100, he's the number one today, but Johnny played really well.
Yeah.
And for all of us who thought that Johnny should be batting 6, when we know he's not here, ought to be here, Ben Stokes, Johnny will be 7. When Stokes is not here, I think we all think this is ridiculous, putting him down with the tail end. He's a proper batsman. This guy was one of the great players. He saw Johnny play Brisbane and said it straight away, he's the second best player in the team. And he's an Aussie.
Yeah, boys.
Now unbroken, so they found one all right, and it's really important now that, as we keep hearing, that first hour tomorrow morning is going to be vital. But at 4 for 305, they've got to be looking at a 500 total at least from here.
And all of that, for all of those folks at home that were sound asleep at the time, after a pretty bad start, actually. Again, Alistair Cook tried to move his feet, but eventually got trapped.
Well, just look how far back he is on the crease to this length of delivery. It's a full ball, and he's almost standing on the stumps. It doesn't do a great deal. 92 miles an hour, so it's the pace that does for Alistair Cook. You just watch his bat here. He's down late. I've got a funny feeling he's waiting for the short ball. Just put square leg back on the boundary, and you just look his bat there. He's so late to come down to. All right, it's 92 miles an hour, but I've got a funny feeling that he was thinking the short ball was just about to come.
So not a series to remember thus far on his 150th Test match as well, 148 in a row. We made a big deal rightly of it. Hasn't gone to plan so far from Alistair's point of view. James Vince got in, played quite nicely actually, Ricky, for a spell.
Yeah, 66-run partnership again, and as we saw just before the lunch break when all the momentum was in England's favour, we talked about it in commentary. It looked like he'd just been fighting himself outside that off stump all day. He was short with his footwork. You could see that he wanted to punch that through the offside. Just got a little feather on one, and once again, unfortunate for Vince, caught behind the wicket, which I think is 7 of his last 8 or 8 of his last 9.
Can you fix that? Is that a technical flaw that you can address, Jeffrey, with coaching or in your own mind?
It's in his head. You see there in my view, watching that, he's got caught in two minds. He's going to drive it, and then he isn't totally committed. He's got the length wrong. He's trying to stop himself. But Ricky made the point before I was on, right early in the morning. With a faster, bouncier pitch, you've got to make your decisions quicker because it's hurrying on to you quicker. And once you have to second-guess yourself or try and change your mind, not against 90 mile an hour, you've had it, you're out, you're gone. And then he changed his mind and got stuck.
Skipper, we always expect, perhaps at times too much. He's had a lot on his plate of late, Swanee, but he won't be pleased with this dismissal.
Well, it is unlucky. I talked to Borney on air and I said, how unlucky is that? At Perth, I remember Ricky Ponting was getting caught down the leg side against us here. And we said afterwards, like, is this a way of getting out at Perth? Is it unlucky or not? Borney's convinced me that it is, but he was looking great. He really was, and he had the bit between his teeth, and so it was a surprise when he got out.
You just see that ball going down the leg side of his bat, and you think, thank you very much, don't you? And his head's gone over a little bit, I guess, but that's unfortunate.
It's strangled. It just is. We've all had one. It's just a couple, maybe. Well, you come back either.
I said in there at the time, that's probably the worst ball that comes to bowl in the session. He hadn't bowled anything down the leg side. He bowls one down there and gets the wicket. So.
Ricky.
Well, there is numbers on the screen.
They don't teach him how to bat at Liverpool.
Oh, steady now. Steady. We've had a good day. Let's not spoil it. Let's not spoil it. There he is. There's his scores. Again... Obviously, he's got the 2 half-centuries. We've talked about the conversion rate. He's got in today, hasn't he?
Well, you look at England's score, 305 for 4.
Yeah.
Failure for Alistair Cook, 7, 20 for Joe Root. So you have to look at it and think, without the senior, core of the batting unit, the unit that we keep talking about that have to arrive, England want to get the 450 plus. Well, they've done it without them today.
True. Good point. Maybe
we've had a good day.
Yeah.
Let's not spoil it with any negative. We've had a really good day.
Right.
It's usually you that spoils it with it.
No, I tell you the truth. When we play badly, I mean, there wasn't hardly a session in 9 days. Today has been our day. We've played well.
Yeah, a bit of everything from Mark Stoneman, wasn't there? Again, gutsy. Stroke playing innings.
I was impressed with him more than anything for how he started. He looks the senior partner again when he opens with Alistair Cook. He looks like he's played 150 tests at the minute. It was a very positive start. He got some poor balls early on, but he capitalised on them. Driving down the ground was a feature, and he really got off to a flyer. This was all in the first session before lunch. And it was only later on, brought up his 50 really well. It was only just after getting 50, he was dropped this absolute clanger at first slip.
Yeah.
Mitchell Marsh's first touch of the ball back in the Test team. And then that absolutely thumped into his helmet. And the way he was a bit at sea after this, but this was off the hand of the very next ball. Great effort of a chance, but he stood there and he took it, and he didn't back down. But he was just, in the end, that is an absolute snorter.
Well, it is, and of course, there's been much discussion. We talked about it at tea for those that were awake at the time about the fact that Aleem Dar wants the referrals made from a not-out decision on the pitch. Aleem Dar looks at the snick. He saw that there's a snick as the ball passes the bat or the gloves.
Yeah, but Matt, from that angle, you don't know whether that's come from the top hand, the right hand, which is on the bat, or the bottom hand, which is off the bat, which wouldn't have been out.
Yeah.
And this is where the confusion came. This is why we saw Joe Root and Paul Collingwood saying, what's going on? You know, it wasn't until, 4 minutes after?
Joe's unhappy. They made him wait at the rope. And then we eventually saw this, which you all felt was conclusive.
Well, I think that's conclusive. I think that hits that right hand. But Aleem Dar made his decision having not seen that.
Yeah.
And that is the problem, that Aleem Dar made the decision. He overturned the on-field decision, which was not out. And the evidence that Aleem Dar got, I don't think was conclusive to overturn. But once you see that which came after, you'd have to say that the right decision in the end was made, which was out.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, he guessed it. He made a decision without the right camera angles to back it up. And luckily for him, it went his way in the end, and the right decision was made.
So we got lucky with the decision.
Well, the art of a third umpire is not to guess.
No. Otherwise, what happens? The guys on the field can guess.
Well, it's got to be conclusive.
Exactly.
Can't they? Jeffrey, do you have concerns about that?
The laws of the game say in the opinion of the umpire, and whatever we think it might be right or wrong, it is in the opinion of that umpire. And in the end, let's be honest, he got it right. He might have guessed, but he got it right, so it's good for the game that he got the right decision.
Swanee?
I'm still not 100%. I've heard from the England cap that the batsman thinks it hit his grill. I thought it hit his grill, and I don't think that proves conclusively it hit his glove. So...
Well, it'll still be out tomorrow morning's paper.
Maybe because I'm so English, I want to see it from an English point of view.
Yeah, OK. Let's get an Aussie perspective on the day. Tim Payne, the wicketkeeper, is with Ali Mitchell.
Well, at 131 for 4, it looked like it could well have been Australia's day, but partnership Tim Payne seemed to turn things on its head.
Yeah, it did. They played really well. Obviously, the wicket's really good, so we can take some confidence out of that. But, yeah, I thought they both played really well. We probably let ourselves down with our catching a little bit, but credit to England. They had a good day.
I know Steve Smith said at the toss that he would have liked to have had first chance to bat as well, but there was actually a lot more in the pitch, possibly bounce-wise, than any of you were expecting.
Oh, yeah, there's a bit more pace than there has been this summer for Shield cricket, but there wasn't a hell of a lot sideways and not a hell of a lot of swing, so it's a good batting wicket. As I said, we would have liked to have held a few more catches, but yeah, those two played really well.
You held a few yourself. Have you ever had to be quite so athletic behind the stumps?
Yeah, I had a bit of work to do today, but that's probably, again, just a sign that we probably didn't quite hit our lengths today if I'm diving around. But, yeah, look, we're confident tomorrow if we can come and take 2 quick wickets. We've seen what we can do to their bottom 4 in the first 2 tests, so we can turn this game really quickly.
Malan and Stoneman in particular really had to come through. A very hostile spell from Josh Hazlewood. Have you seen him bowl with much more hostility than that?
No, I haven't. He's been, I suppose, renowned for his accuracy and his bounce, but I thought his pace in the last 2 test matches in particular has been really good. And when he's bowling like that, he's hard to play. And that spell, particularly to Stoneman, was as good as you'll see. That
Stoneman wicket, it seemed as if on the evidence that the decision was overturned on was not particularly convincing at the time, but actually you guys all went for the review pretty instantly.
Yeah, straight away we thought it was out without doubt, and from what I don't know, the replay I saw looked like it hit his glove, his top glove, so yeah, we were pretty comfortable that was out.
What sort of score will you start to worry about given this pitch, given the total that England are already on and an unbroken partnership going into tomorrow?
Yeah, I haven't thought too much about it, to be honest. I think, as I said, if we can get 2 early wickets tomorrow, we've shown what we can do to their bowlers, so we can turn this game really quickly. But, you know, I think some big scores have been made here in the last few test matches in first innings. So, you know, I think if they start to push up over 500, they've done really well. That's a long way off.
Tim, thanks for your time. Good luck tomorrow.
Cheers.
Still pretty chirpy, the Aussie wicketkeeper. And actually, when you think back to the start in Brisbane when he missed a bit of a dolly in that first test, he's actually kept very well, Ricky.
Well, all the controversy around Stoneman's dismissal today, we haven't even talked about his catch. I mean, that was a terrific catch behind the stumps. As he said then, he felt the bowlers probably didn't hit their lengths as well as they could have, and the line was a little bit off, hence him having to be diving all over the place. But look, everyone in Australia that's seen him play know how good a gloveman he is. I think he's sort of reinforcing that to everyone over the last 8 or 9 days, and he looks at home with the bat. So it was a gutsy decision to name him in the first place, but I think it's been justified in the series so far.
Yeah, here his catches from today. That one obviously routine, but you rightly point out he's long been recognised, injury apart, that he's perhaps the...
I mean, Gillian Collins was saying, even that one down the leg side to Joe, he makes it look easy because of his footwork. You know, he's very nimble on his feet, he's moving around the crease. I know very little about wicket keeping, but I know one thing, that when you're not mentioning the keeper and you don't talk about him, you know he's having a very good time of it.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the Australian bowling figures, Swanee, because Ricky made the point about them perhaps straying line and length. They were hostile at times, but did they miss their spots today?
Well, I think they had that one period, when they went short and they went very hostile, and it looked like England were going to crumble. When they didn't, they then didn't get their lengths back. They were either too full or too short and wide. Nathan Lyon, I think, did a good job. He only went for 61 from 19, and that was with England trying to dominate him early on. So I think he actually bowled well again on a wicket that's offering nothing to the spinners whatsoever. So I don't think Australia bowled well today. I think when they had England on the rack, but I think you've got to put that down to Bairstow and Malan. They really fought back and earned the right to score runs, as the guys are always saying.
You know what I'm going to say now, don't you?
Not about tomorrow.
David Malan said it already. We don't need to say it.
True, he's nicked my line. But listen, from an Australian point of view, it's easy to say, Tim Payne, obviously, it's the obvious thing. You take on back, get a couple of wickets tomorrow, it changes the picture. It's easier said than done, I guess, on this pitch.
Well, if Australia want to win the game, they have to do it now, basically. I mean, they're 4 for 305. By lunch tomorrow, they're going to be around the 400 mark. 6 in the shed, a couple of recognised batsmen to come, or decent batsmen to come. So if Australia want to win, that's what they're going to have to do. And I think they are going to have to bowl a little bit better than they did today. With the brand new ball and Stark bowling really full, he has looked dangerous. Hazelwood's looked dangerous when he's hit his length. But I think Stark, if I can be negative against him at all, I think he just gets a little bit too carried away with the really full stuff. The really full balls don't get great batsmen out because they've got time to adjust. It's that knee roll length where there's a bit of shape and then you get done off the wicket. They're the sort of balls that bring you undone. So if I was the bowling coaches tomorrow morning, I'd have him out the back in the nets trying to hit that 5 feet, 6 feet from the stump sort of length and work on that.
And you made the point about Johnny Bairstow being happy with the opportunity at 6. I would imagine that Moeen Ali will be happy with the platform when he gets his chance, won't he? And perhaps Chris Woakes behind him.
Well, we've got to be honest about it. We've had a wonderful day. We don't want to spoil it. But you're asking about what's going to happen tomorrow. They've dropped 3 catches. That would have made quite a bit of difference. And their bowlers have gone past the bat once or twice with the new ball. In the new ball period, they'll have a new ball tomorrow and start. And also at the back of the mind, they'll be saying, hey, if we get through these 2 batsmen, we got Moeen and then the tail, and we've blown their tail away before. So it's not all, good for us. It's good because we've had a lovely day. But they'll be thinking the other way, that, hang on, we still have a chance here with the new ball.
Don't track us down.
So we have to play well. That's what I'm going to say.
There we go.
We can't just come out and say I'm 100 and play shots. We have to think it's a new ball.
There's the context of the great run scorers individually here in Perth. He's already on the top 10. How much further up that list might he go tomorrow?
I think if he bats as he did today, there's no reason why he can't go up. I mean, there's a Broad at the top of that list already, so why can't we put another one on there? He's due.
Oh, I love your optimism, but let's not get carried away.
No, I just think you shouldn't look into... of course you're going to have to play well again tomorrow, but England need to win this test match, so they shouldn't be thinking about 350, 360 and worrying about the tail. Say to these guys who are in, you carry on, you double up, you get your big daddy hundreds, get us 500 and then let us go and win this test match.
What score takes defeat out of the equation for England? 500?
I think so, yeah. I'm not a huge statistician, but, yeah, I imagine when you bat first and make 500, you're not going to lose too often. And the reason I asked Malan post-game about the cracks in the wicket is if it's not too hot through the course of this game, which the forecast is not supposed to be, then come day 4 and day 5, this wicket might not break up too much. So that's why I was interested to see if they do get 400 or 500, then Australia can still stay in the game. And if they have to chase something in the last innings, the variation and bounce doesn't change much here. All that changes is those cracks open up and you get some sideways movement. So we played a game against South Africa where they chased 414 in the fourth innings of the game on a real flat one where it wasn't hot and the wicket didn't break up. So, but saying that, there's some hard work to do for the Aussies before they start thinking about the last innings of the game.
What it's done, obviously, today and I think tomorrow, it's re-energised the series, hasn't it? The downhill slope away from England has just started to level out a touch.
Well, at 131 for 4, I really feared for the whole series and the England side. And what that partnership's done, it's made that dressing room a happy one, a positive one. They arrive on day 2 having won another day. They won day 4 at the Adelaide Oval, so they've won 2 days in the series so far. But you don't win Test by winning one day. They've got to come back tomorrow and win the second day's play, have a really good, strong day, and just see what Australia are like when they're under real pressure. With 500 on the board, 450, 500, give Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad and Chris Woakes and Overton more time in that dressing room resting up. Probably the happiest group will be the bowlers.
Right.
Had a full day, just sat there watching the batsmen play properly. So that dressing room will be delighted.
When it comes, can they bowl Australia out on that pitch?
They've got to believe they can. Whether they can will come down to whether they get their lengths right, whether a senior player steps up, and I believe whether Moeen Ali can step up to the plate as well. I believe they can.
Well, you like Moeen when the odds are a little bit more in his favour. If he's got something to play with, he gets his dander up a little bit more.
I think so, yeah. I think if he gets a wicket early on, if he gets some support, if he gets a lot of people pumping his tyres up, patting him on the back, you shouldn't have to do it, but some people do need a good arm around their shoulder, and I think Mo's one of them.
Confident? Ish?
No. I want to see what happens tomorrow.
Right.
We're talking about 400, 500. I'd like to hope we're going to get 400 plus. But, you know, you never know where we are in the game till both sides have batted.
There you
We've
go.
had a good day.
We've had a good day.
Really good day.
We're hoping